Right. Welcome to Digital Asset News. Take a top stories in crypto and break them down into bite-sized pieces. So today, just the thumbnail and the title suggest, I want to take a look at just some fundamentals and take a look at what's going on behind the scenes because I think there's actually an easier way to do things just to simplify what's going on. So we're going to take a look at what I like to say is that in the bull market, everyone's a winner. But of course, when the bear market comes in, everybody's a fundamentalist. We'll take a look at passive versus active investments. Also, we'll take a look at how Ukraine gets it right the second time. And then also, interesting story, how a bank just bought a big plot of land in the sandbox for the metaverse. So we'll take a look at those stories. And then at the very end, we'll do 5 questions in 5 minutes at the very end. So hold all your questions till the end. Try to answer those to the best of my abilities at the conclusion of the stories. So first of all, just so you know, if you're here for the live stream, welcome. Thanks for stopping by. If you're here for the replay, just know there'll be timestamps below so you can fast forward, go wherever you want to, but everything's in a linear motion. We try to do the news for 15 to 20 minutes, then 5 questions in 5 minutes, and then we bounce and we're out of here. So that is how we do things. So let's jump right into the market and see exactly what is going on. So first of all, market's looking pretty good today, actually. I think this is the second day we're actually on an upward trend. And yesterday we had Jerome Powell come out and say that, I mean, after all of the dog and pony show said, hey, we're going to increase the rates by 0.25 or quarter basis points. And I don't think this surprised anybody. I don't think it did. I mean, maybe some people who were living under the rock and haven't really checked out these things were like, wow, a quarter point, that's crazy. But the market responds and it was the exact same thing. They're like, well, this is stability, so we'd like to see that. So Bitcoin responded. Now it's at 41,000, up 1.5%. Ethereum's up, Binance is up. You guys know it's up because you watch your portfolio all the time. But Avalanche is the big winner today. In 24 hours, almost 14%, 3% for the week. And it's looking pretty good across the board. I don't think anything's down in the last 24 hours. I'm on narrow, but sure. Waves, maybe. Yeah. But everything else is up. I mean, for the most part. So it's a pretty good day. And then what I like to see is how did everything respond in the traditional market, with Jerome Powell coming out and saying, hey, we're going to, increase the rates. And I think the traditional market, crypto markets, every market expected this quarter basis points, and it happened and it responded positively. So not the big boogeyman in the closet that people thought it might be. S&P 500 actually closed at a pretty good high point. But let's see how it did in the last 5 days. Looking pretty good. A month? 6 months? In a year? Not too bad. And then NASDAQ, how are we looking? For 1 day, looking pretty good. 5 day, great. 1 month, somewhat. 6 months, not real great. And then for a year, not real great again. So that's what we have as far as the markets go. Now let's just jump into what I like to say is a top story. And this is going to go over a litany of different information. There was this great video. This is Julie Beal, and she is a hedge fund manager. And what she says here makes a lot of sense because there's so much volatility in the market. I think it's good to hear from different perspectives in traditional and crypto markets to see what people are seeing and that is going on. So like I said, this was from my Twitter post. So if you don't follow me, it's at News Asset. Usually I do the information on Twitter first before I put it out on YouTube. I said, this is it. This is when the market's, really ripping. Everyone's a gambler and everybody's a genius in the bull market. And they always say the same things like, oh, you really got to get into these plays, and there's a lot of different out there, and you really got to, push the envelope. And of course, they're geniuses in the bull market. But when the market retracts, all of a sudden, everybody who told you all these different crazy, different ways to invest, all of a sudden they disappear. And now everybody's a fundamentalist. And I just say like this, just be a fundamentalist your whole time. And it kind of makes a lot of sense. I know it's not the most sexy answer, but guess what? What's really sexy is doubling, tripling, quadrupling your money over time. And that's really what it comes down to. So just take a listen. This is like a minute or so. Let me stop the screen. Let me share so you can actually hear this, what she says right here. So quick minute. Let me mute myself so you don't hear me.
And Julie, one thing that you're looking at is fundamentals over forecasts. That makes a lot of sense. What's the backdrop that you're seeing right now?
So I think when we look at the global economy, there are just so many uncertainties that pop up every single day. And there are things that we couldn't have predicted far beyond that. I think we have all gotten very attached to our fancy Excel models and our dot plots and our forecasts. And frankly, I think you can throw them all out the window because it's just not possible to predict where things are going. Why not instead focus on being more of a business analyst and finding really strong, proven, durable business models? Because you can go back historically and see, hey, how has this company performed in a financial crisis? How has this company performed in an oil crisis? And when you do that, then you have a lot more certainty that they're going to be able to weather that.
Yeah, and we've seen sort of a comeuppance for a lot of the companies, and I'm thinking mostly the fintech space, that have not operated in any of those environments, and we're seeing it reflected in the stocks right now. Julie, I want to get to...
That's a good one. So I like to hear these different opinions as opposed to, just going out there and throwing a bunch of money around and going, you know what, this is the best thing to do of all time. And like, really, is it? Because it seems like sometimes fundamentally things work out. And it's like my friend, my man Mullet says, he says, it's amazing, Rob, how a short-term trade turns into a long-term investment as things go sideways because the market tanks. And it just kind of comes down to it is like, just like what this Miss Buell said here. She goes, maybe instead of, looking at all these models and trying to predict everything and where it's going to go, why don't you just be a fundamentalist and take a look at the business itself and what it actually does and the things behind it. Now, when the person that was in for like the narrator, the other lady here, she says, it's interesting of how you can get things into and actually take a look at these businesses as how they've done in like a recession or how they've done in past performances. With crypto, you really can't do that. We've never really been in a recession for digital assets. I mean, Bitcoin was created in 2009 because of an economic crisis. And now as we kind of move into that, we can actually see is this going to work out? Is this store of value actually going to be the narrative, and it's actually going to achieve what it's supposed to? And I think it actually can. It just takes a little time. So really what we want to think about is this, all these things that we're talking about for investing, what's a good strategy? Can we do it active? Can we do passive? And what I'd like to do is just really quickly take a look down that road. So this was an article November 1st. I'm not going to go into it in detail at all. It's just a warm up, but it talks about in one of the most volatile markets in decades, active fund managers underperformed again. Because I'm always thinking to myself, if I'm into investing, am I doing the right thing by just doing some passive investing, just dollar cost averaging, or should I be out there and be a real trader and get into it? And you can. It's it's very tough, and even for some of the experts. So this one was on 2020. Stock picking has a terrible track record. So this was stock picking has a terrible track record. It's getting worse. This is a thesis of Larry Swedroe. He's got a book out, The Incredible Shrinking Alpha. And Swedroe is a chief research officer for Buckingham Wealth Partners, and he's co-written 18 books. And what was interesting to me is that, again, I like to see how just a passive buy and hold dollar cost average versus an active getting in there, leverage trades and trying to really make some find some undervalued types of things and kind of get in and get out. And just looking at stocks, every year, S&P Dow Jones indices does a study on active versus passive management. And they found that after 10 years, 85% of experts, large cap funds, underperformed just the buy and hold S&P 500. And after 15 years, 92% are trillionaires. What did that tell you? Only 8% of these hedge funds, and these are people doing it for years and years and years, have outperformed just a basic buy and hold. And then it really comes down to this statement. And it's kind of awful, but I'll tell you what it is. And he states, we know from all the research that retail money is dumb money on average. Let me say that one more time. We know from all the research that retail money is dumb money on average. The research shows that on average, I'm not talking about you, I'm just saying on average, the stocks they buy go on to underperform after purchase, and the stocks they sell go on to outperform. And now there are fewer dumber investors to take advantage of because they're just doing the buy and hold strategy. And then I took a look at this one here. This is it's executive education from Wharton School of Business. It's a pretty prestigious college for business. And what they do is do additional education. What they took a look at was active versus passive investing, which gives you the better returns. So research by Wharton faculty has shown that in many cases, active investment managers are not able to pick enough winners. But does active investing become more appealing for high net worth investors? Like that could be you, I'm not for sure, or just regular investors. And again, Wharton faculty, I mean, these guys that they did the study, they've got extensive knowledge of portfolio management, modern portfolio theory, behavioral finance, passive and active vehicles, performance measure, blah, 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 right? And it states, while actively managed assets can play an important role in a diverse portfolio, even the faculty involved in the program say that even large investors often do best just passively investing, buying and holding for the bulk of their holdings. So I know like there's a lot of things out there where you'll see like, hey, I'm going to teach you how to do all these crazy strategies and just sign up for this course. I got to tell you, some of them work. Like my man Mullet talks about, he said he went to one. It was fantastic. It worked out pretty well. But I think for the majority, I don't think a lot of people are making money on just straight trading. I think a lot of people are making their income on buying and holding. I could be wrong. Let me know what you think about it in the comment section. But I think that there is some incongruence about what's going on. So the benefits of passive investing: very low fees, good transparency, tax efficiency. And that's another thing. Like something I don't understand about like for trading. Like if you're a day trader, you have to pay capital gains tax unless you live in Puerto Rico like me. And you got to pay short-term capital gains, those things. Even if you wait a year, you have to pay long-term capital gains. So even if you're outperforming the market, you still got to pay like 20 to 34% in capital gains. It doesn't make any sense. And then again, over a recent 10-year period, active mutual fund managers returns trailed passive funds consistently, said more. And then it goes into more statistics, 97%, 77%. And that is the big one. So I think like as things go on, as far as like stability, I think it just helps to be a little bit more of a passive investor, and it makes things a lot easier. And again, this is really what it comes down to in this time. What's your goals? So like if your goals are the Lambos and the mansions, that's fine. Just like for me, like these, I put this out a couple of days ago. And for me, it's freedom and time. So if you're out here and you're into the crypto market, just realize that you don't have to trade and do all these wacky things that are out there. Again, it's not investment advice, just investment opinion. I just buy and hold, dollar cost average. And it just seems to work out over time. And that's just really the big issue that I want to bring to everybody's attention. There is some stability out there just for buying and holding. So let me know what you think about that in the comment section. Let's go on to our next piece. Ukraine. So the world's on fire, and that's a problem. But on the bright side for crypto, Ukraine's President Zelensky signs a virtual assets bill into law, legalizing crypto. So these are the two big stories yesterday. Jerome Powell comes out and raises rates, and Ukraine legalizes crypto. But to dig into it about what it actually is, so not only do they legalize it, the law determines legal status, classification, ownership, and regulators of virtual assets, as well as setting registration requirements for service providers. And this is from the Ministry of Digital Transformation. The market will be regulated by Ukraine's National Commission on Securities and the Stock Market, kind of like our SEC, but unlike our SEC, they actually understand the power of this, and they're not stifling innovation. Exchanges will be able to operate legally, and this was interesting. Banks will open accounts for them, the digital ministry said. The state body is tasked tasked with shaping and pursuing a policy in the field of virtual assets, determining the order of circulation of virtual assets, issuing permits to virtual asset providers, and carrying out supervision and financial monitoring in the area. I think it's a very simple thing to do. Why couldn't they all do those? The bill passed through Parliament on February 17th after Zelensky rejected an earlier version approved in 2021. So that's why I said, like, Zelensky gets it right the second time. It's amazing what a war will do for you, right? All of a sudden, there's a little bit of a hassle of getting this. This was an article I said that this is a Ukrainian diplomat was arrested trying to leave the country with $140,000, 12 kilograms gold bars, 18 kilos of gold jewelry, and 68,000 euros. This was their suitcase. And I'm like, why'd they do that? All you got to do is just memorize 12 words for your seed phrase, and you can smuggle out billions. So when the Ukraine here is there, first of all, they had a pretty sizable amount as far as donations in crypto. It's amazing that when that type of funds come in, and they're like, well, how are we going to make this work? Well, let's just legalize it. I know we rejected an earlier version, but if we're going to get a lot of money, let's make this happen. And then I know people will talk about, well, of course they're going to ban it at some point. No, they won't. Countries won't, for the majority, won't ban it. You know why? Because there's so much money in crypto and digital assets. They're not going to miss out on their opportunity to tax the living tar out of it, which is what it says here. Lastly, the Ministry of Finance is working on amendments to the country's tax and civil codes to fully launch the market for virtual assets. First, they have to get out of the war. But I mean, to me, it only makes sense that, hey, we're going to tax this. So, of course, we're going to make it legal. And I think other countries will follow suit. But we'll see how it goes. Anyhow, let me know what you think about that in this comment section. And lastly, the bank, a particular bank, HSBC, buys virtual real estate in the Sandbox metaverse. So what's going on here? This is... Oh, HSBC is the first global bank to enter the Sandbox metaverse. Did not know. The metaverse is how people will experience Web3, the next generation of the internet, using immersive technologies like augmented reality, virtual reality, and extended reality. This is from Suresh Balaji, Chief Marketing Officer at HSBC Pacific Asia. And I didn't know that they joined these brands and companies that have partnered with the blockchain gaming firm, including Warner Music Groups, Gucci, and Adidas. So if we're taking a look of like what could potentially be the next big thing, well, I know people talk about the metaverse. I have my doubts, but I mean, it's hot right now, but I mean, we'll see how they monetize the whole experience. And then last month, Megabank JP Morgan unveiled a virtual lounge and blockchain-based world Decentraland. And I got to tell you, I mean, as things move forward, it's amazing to me how fast certain parts get adopted, and it only accelerates. So if we're looking at Cryptoverse plays and play to earn plays, I will direct you to Digital Asset News clips. We just talked about a plethora of different play to earn games. One of those is Aavegotchi. I think is going to be big, and their metaverse actually launches March 31st, not March 31st, 2025, like March 31st, this year. And then we talked about the Cryptoverse. We talked about Gensokishi, so you can go check it out over there. Or if you want to, just go to danteachescrypto.com, 100% free. Go to module 6 right here. Click on that, and then we've got a bunch of different videos. One I did with Crypto Stash, which was a great one, which kind of lays out like why the metaverse is going to be big and why play to earn games and what it'll be like in 10 years. And then here's into the Cryptoverse meta chain. So that's what's up. So that's what's going on in the news. Did it under 20 minutes, not too bad. So that concludes the news portion. So for right now, if you want to do a Q&A, stick around. Great. Let's answer 5 of your most burning questions in 5 minutes, and we'll go from there. If you can't stick around, thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it. Leave a like, dislike, whatever you want to do. Consider subscribing. And let's jump into Q&A and go from there. Let's see. Jelly Bean is here. Great. Trump says the Ukraine is corrupt. Here's every government's corrupt. Come on. Thanks. I did a pretty good studio walkthrough yesterday, but it's mostly me shilling Autonomous. At least I'm honest. This is a good one. What's your thoughts on about MinSwap? Well, hopefully do a better job than Sunday Swap. That's all I can tell you. I mean, look, Sunday Swap, that was kind of a nightmare just to get things going. But it was a test then. I know people are going to attack me because like, oh, you don't, it was a test and you got to give them time. I want what I want, you know? So thanks for not being super flashy and loud. I'm not super flashy. Oh, this is a good question. Diesel Kane says, hey, Rob, Donald Trump knows about money and he knows about sanctions. Is he secret wallet number 3? If you guys don't know what wallet 3 is, let's see. Oh, this is it. Let me show you something. Let me share this with you. So if you go to BitInfoCharts, bitinfocharts.com, and where is it? Is this the one? I don't know if it's this one or... No, it's not it. Rich list. Yeah, here we go. You go to Bitcoin rich list, and then you go down to wallet number 3. And wallet number 3 is famous because it's not labeled as any of the exchanges. It's just some random wallet. And what's amazing is that you can watch that. First of all, one thing you'll notice is that it accumulates a lot of Bitcoin, a lot. And rarely does it sell. But it does sell at some very interesting time points, like kind of like at the top. And I think, or near the top. Where's the one? There's one that they actually sold at like 68,000 or something like that. And it's just amazing to me that they were actually able to time that. So wallet number 3, if you're looking at like, oh, here it is. Look at this one. Oh yeah, it's from when I freaking highlighted. So they sold at 67,000. Or no, 67,510 at when it was that price, and they sold a good 1,500 Bitcoin. But just notice that, and this is to kind of prove my point again, is that it's not about timing the market, just time in. What they've done is they started to accumulate back in 2019, and I thought it was adorable that they actually dollar cost average at $3, then 20, then 9, and then they spent 19 million. So I thought it was pretty funny. But yeah, check that wallet out because that seems to be like the ultimate whale wallet to see when things are dumping and whatnot. Again, bitinfocharts.com, Bitcoin rich list, click on number 3, and that's it. So I think it's Donald Trump. I don't think that Donald Trump has that much money to put into Bitcoin. Question number 1. Question number 2. I don't know if this is a comment or a question. Still holding a bag of Voyager? Yes, I haven't. I don't think I sold any. I might have sold a little bit, but I'm still at that highest tier, that 3rd tier up there. So I'm pretty happy with that. And what's great about Voyager is that every month I get the rewards. And of course, they are accelerated because I'm in that highest tier. And then also, I just got approved for that debit card, which should be coming in like a week or so. So that'd be fun. This is a good question. Question number 3. What's your opinion on Joseph Lubin and the rising Ethereum centralization evolution? So we talked about this yesterday, actually. We talked about, this is not going to be popular, but I'll just say it. It's amazing to me that everybody talks about decentralization until a super centralized project becomes into the top 10. And I'll just say Binance Coin is super centralized. Let's just be honest. And then all of a sudden it's like, well, it's no big deal because we're all making money. So whatever else. And everybody just turns a blind eye to it. Not everybody, but that's amazing to me. And Ethereum, I know there's some, like I talked about yesterday. I said, look, Ethereum's the winner. Yesterday, I said, Ethereum's the winner. And it's true right now. If you look at the total volume locked up in DeFi Llama, it's, oh God, let me see. Let me bring it up. Chains. Well, I should probably want to see this. So in DeFi Llama, Yeah. So see this number right here, all the what's locked up in total volume, and which is a good indicator, I think, of where things are going. Not all the time, but sure. Ethereum, and they got a lot of everything's built on tons of things are built on Ethereum. Not everything, but they got 116 billion locked up. 116. The second one is Luna. Go figure. 25 billion. That's a lot. And people will debate me on if it's centralized or not, whatever. But Binance Chain, they've got almost 12 billion. And then, down the line, you got billions, billions, billions. I always thought Cardano would have more locked up, but it doesn't. But of course, everybody in Cardano will tell you that, well, we're just building, and sure. So, I mean, look, just because you're on top right now doesn't mean you'll be on top in 3-5 years. Go talk to the creators of MySpace, and they'll kind of tell you that. So what's my thoughts on Ethereum centralization? I don't think it's good for security as far as things become more centralized. But is it truly centralized? Well, as far as power goes, I mean, you're going to have a lot of VCs checking in and buying a boatload of it, which they already did anyhow. So I don't think there's really anything that really has changed. The only thing that's changed recently is that more retail investors, like we talked about, have sold their Ethereum because they're scared. And then, of course, all the whales who have a bunch of money and just sit on the sidelines go, I'll pick that up. And they pick that up. And then all the retail investors that were poor now become poorer. That's a crappy way to say it, but it is the truth. So, yeah, I don't see... Damn. Sometimes when I look at investors that are out there, I just would like to shake them and say, and I can't give them advice, but like, if I could just go back in time, I guess this would be the better way to say it, and just start shaking myself. I'm like, what are you doing? Why are you selling this stuff? There's no reason to sell unless you absolutely need it. Just hold on to it for a bit and go from there. As long as it's, going to be a good product. There's time you have to sell. Like I always give my example, Dash of Salt. Remember Salt? Crypto? Supposed to be the next big thing. Tanked after a while. So in some situations you have to sell, but that's why we talk about, take a look at the UTT. What's the utility? What does it do? How is it different? What is the team? How good are they? Where have they been? And the tokenomics. So they're a dump on you as a bunch of VCs, or is it really scattered about? So that's what I can say. All right. Wallet 3 is Putin. That's a great question. What top 10 layer ones do you think are the most likely to be the Salt Dash this cycle? Binance Coin, XRP, Luna, Cardano, Sol, and AVAX. I don't see any of those as being really going down. Cardano, if it wasn't, look, the Cardano community is what keeps that going, right? And there's a lot of technological advancements I keep hearing about. Great. I have got a lot of Cardano myself, but do I think that Cardano will be the absolute winner? No, I don't think it's going to be the absolute winner. I don't think anything's going to be the absolute winner. XRP is going to do well after they win the court case. I think they will. Solana is got a bunch of VCs behind it. It's majorly backed, and it's making. And also, the reason why Solana is probably going to make it so well is because you got Sam Bankman-Fried from FTX, and he super believes in Solana. And he says, we tried to break it. We couldn't break it. We're going to go forward with this. And that's why they have that NFT marketplace based on Solana. So if you're going to bet against Solana, you can do it. I just wouldn't do it. I own all these things except for Binance Coin. And the only reason I don't own Binance Coin is because I can't get my hands on it. I mean, I probably could, but I don't really want to go through the process of whatever else. And of course, I think Binance Coin will do well. So which layer ones do you think are the most likely to be the Salt Dash of this cycle? The only one I can say is XRP is if they lose that court case. But I think would be be really bad for, not really bad, it'll be bad for us around the board. All right. Here's another question. Question 4. Are the big money traders holding the price range between 38K and 45K only to make Bitcoin a day trade vehicle? It makes sense to me. And I read this article on Sam Bankman-Fried, and he said a lot of his money, what he made, was just arbitrage. he'd have some, there's an exchange in a certain country, and then he would look over another country, and it was like a $2,000 price difference. So they would just do that all day long and just pump and pump and pump. And it would work out for him because he had a lot of money to do that. So for me, like if I'm a trader, I want volatility, right? I want a lot of volatility. So if there's tons of that, I'll just be like, well, hopefully I can just keep this gravy train going and, drum out all the other retail investors and just make a boatload of money. Fortunately, that's what it is. Can they do that forever? No, I don't think so. Because, you do have a lot of institutions actually gobbling it up. But I'm going to say something, and I hate saying it because I've heard it for so damn long, is that one day there's going to be a supply crisis or a supply shortage and it's going to really go up. Man, I've been hearing that thing for 5 effing years. We'll see. What else? Oh, yeah, against Akishi. It's another one of those metaverse play-to-earn plays. And again, like when I was doing that piece on, passive versus active, it's good to go for the fundamentals, but like 5%, you got to live a little bit, right? So like I invested into things like I invested a good amount against Akishi. I think it's going to be great. And I explain why in the video. It's not just because it's like just pull out of the air. I take a look at the utility, the team, the tokenomics, the history, and everything else. And I think it's a pretty good project. So I think I get an NFT because I was one of the early investors. I got to talk to those guys. I saw it on YouTube, or I saw it on Twitter. And that's it. What's up, Mullet? I think I mentioned you like 3 times a day. I like Cardano. I like Cardano too. It sure does have a lot of stake pool operators. That's for sure. It's still, they got a lot of nodes. I mean, it's pretty decentralized. I do like that part. It just, if you say anything negative about, it's amazing to me. Like if you say anything negative about a certain project, it seems like the community, or I guess it's in every project, everyone, because like some of the community will just go crazy and start to attack you. And I'm like, if you're attacking me because I bring up a point about a specific project, maybe you gotta just take a step back and not be so emotional in your investment. I think when you get emotional into investments, that's one of the problem, because you can't make the good decisions to get out or not. Like I'm actively, or have actively condensed my portfolio because some of them are just losers. They just are. And, you're not going to pick them all right. And that's it. I think that's it. We're going 33 minutes. Maybe if I got someone. What do you think about Bored Ape Yacht Club launching on multiple exchanges? I heard they were actually merging with Space. What is it? Not Space Punks. CryptoPunks. So I heard there's some kind of merger, but I also heard on top of Bored Ape Yacht Club is that they wanted them to, there's a lot of verification of identities and things like that the community was asking for. It didn't make any sense to me. So I don't know. I will tell you this, that Bored Ape Yacht Club, as far as the value, it's gone down pretty quick. So if you were investor in Bored Ape Yacht Club, you're down from all-time highs, just like everybody else. Okay, so that's it today. So look, if you like today's video, give it a thumbs up. Also consider subscribing while we talk about our time sensitive. And that's it for today. So thanks so much for coming in. Appreciate it. I'll see you on the next one. Adios.